Happy Monday. And this is Twanna, and I am an anxiety and health career coach today. Of course, I've got my training. I'm a certified health coach, but specifically, I like to talk to women about and work with women who struggle with anxiety and how it affects their career. And so today, and I'm trying to get used to this webcam. I'm so used to doing doing it on my smartphone. So it's like trying to figure out, where do I look in? Am I looking in the camera? Am I looking in the right place? So kind of bear with me today. So today I actually wanted to come to you and just talk a little bit about burnout and stress. And mainly, if do you feel like a failure? And as you get up and go to your job every day, do you kind of not look forward to going to work each and every day? Does it look like you just cannot see a way forward? Like everything just looks, like you got to climb a mountain. Everything you do is like climbing a mountain. And do you feel drained? When you think about going to work, and once you get to work, do you just feel kind of drained? Do you find it difficult to make decisions when you're on the job? Or, are you afraid to make decisions, or just can't make decisions at all? And then, do you find yourself waking up through the night, like you just sit up in the bed, or you come to, and you're just kind of like drenched in sweat, and there's just anxiety is just riding you? Or are you on the flip side, just not able to go to sleep at all? You just have difficulties going to sleep, Are you avoiding projects at work? Are you avoiding tasks because you just feel exhausted all the time? And, you just kind of feel like, today, just join me as I talk about burnout and anxiety. It's going to have a little twist on it, and so give me a moment, because I actually want to share this video into my group. And so this is definitely a first for this one, because there it is. Normally I share my video from the phone to the computer, so let me see, can I find my group on here? This is the first time doing it. There it is right there. And there it is. Yep. Okay. And by George, I think I got it. Oh, it says I shared it. So this should be going to my group as well. And for all the ladies out there who are struggling with anxiety and it affects your career, consider joining my Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group, Rising Above Anxiety. And it's just a lot of ladies, just, it's a supportive tribe. And I talk, I do posts, and people post about things that going on, and looking at the best way forward. And it's just always good to feel like you're not isolated, but it's not a woe is me group either, because I don't like the woe is me. And, my whole thing about doing this group is looking for a way forward. What can you do to move forward? Yes, some of us have anxiety. Some of us suffer with a lot of stress, but we're just excelling. We are looking at excelling in our careers. And a lot of us are good at our careers. We're really good at what we do, but it's time to move forward. And that's a little bit of what I want to talk to you about today, And so it's just figuring out, and I talked about the symptoms. If you're like snapping at people, if you kind of dread going to work, if you're finding it difficult to make decisions, whereas before you were like bam, 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 no problems making decisions at all. And all of a sudden you're either afraid to make decisions, or you just can't bring yourself to make a decision. You're feeling stuck. And, you just feel like, I'm stuck here. I can't find a way forward. What's going on? Sometimes it is burnout. You're getting fairly close to burnout. And I say fairly close because some of us have a high tolerance before we actually reach burnout. But the flip to this that I wanted to talk about, and something that I often went through, is not necessarily burnout. It was just time for me to find another job. It was time for me to go. It was time for me to leave. And that's that's a twist, because if you look up burnout, yeah, some of these things can be related to burnout. And burnout is not like you just wake up one day and bam, you're burned out. Actually, it's a process. It's been a while since you've been able to sleep. It's been a while since having difficulties eating or not being able to eat. And so I wanted to talk about that flip side, because this is how I am. When I've gotten everything that I can for a job, when I'm no longer excited about what I'm doing, I'm not excited about the task, I'm not excited about being around the people, I'm not excited about being in that environment at all, I go through all those symptoms that I just listed. I'm snapping at people, and I don't do a lot of snapping at people, but I have to catch myself from rolling my eyes. And so I'm kind of expressive about rolling my eyes when I've kind of had it up to here. And so sometimes it's not about difficulty making a decision. I just don't care enough to make a decision. Just really don't care, you know. And I'm very punctual, like to be there on time. I like to give 150%. But I know that when it's like, I'm struggling, like I'm here on time, but it's like, yeah, I have to do this, but yeah, okay, I just do it because I got to do it. It's just my regular standard. But there's like no excitement involved with it. I understand that I'm not actually at burnout because I'm just exhausted and tired. I'm just tired of being in that job. Okay. But what happens is if you have anxiety, when you talk about transitioning to another job or transition to another career, the anxiety starts riding you, and the fear that wells up, and you're like, I can't do that. And what happens if you're afraid to change careers, or you're afraid to go to another job, then you become stuck, and then that anxiety starts riding you every day. You're realizing that 5 days a week, I got to get up and go to a job that I don't want to be at anymore. I don't have any excitement. I don't have an exhilaration for doing that job. And the longer you stay in that job, you start to pick up the burnout symptoms. They are very similar. But it's not just that you're burned out and you're exhausting yourself because you're giving so much to the job. You're getting burned out because you don't want to be there anymore, but you're afraid of taking the next step to move to something better. You're afraid of the interviewing and the application process, and getting dressed up and having to go and lay yourself out, and oftentimes we're afraid of rejection. If I go and try for this next career move or this next job, what if I get rejected? What if I'm not good enough? What if I haven't learned enough? What if I don't know what I think I know? And when the what ifs start rolling in, you sit right back where you are on that job, and you don't move, you don't stay. But then you start to kind of be apathetic about where you are, because it's time for you to go. It is time for you to go. And I realized that, and what I realized is, I definitely know when it's time for you to go, because I'm a pretty chill person, I just don't go in, all the time. I'm just pretty chill. But when my mouth gets a little sarcastic, well beyond what I need to be, or very sarcastic, because I don't necessarily care anymore. I know it's time for me to go. And I realized that, I think it was about my third job, after I got out of the Army, I realized that one of the symptoms for me when it's time to go is I get real flipped at the mouth, and whatever I'm thinking, it just rolls out. And typically that's not me. I'm very thoughtful. I'm going to turn things over before I say them. But when, stupid things happen, it's like, whoosh, they just come. And I was like, oh, I can't believe I said that. Okay. It may be time for me to go. And the thing is you get comfortable, the routine of the job, how to get there, the trip to the office is comfortable, what you do in that job is comfortable, the people you're around are comfortable, and we don't always like to change when we're comfortable. But here's the thing. Being comfortable for too long can lead to burnout, or feelings very similar to burnout. You need to be challenged. Typically, we need to be challenged. Now, I'm not talking about climbing the mountain, challenging every day. But typically when we go to a job, we need to be challenging and excited about being there. And that's one of those needs that we have. It's a need to be challenged. It's a need for variety. We like to just experience different things where we look forward to seeing that job. And when you get to the point where it's like, yeah, okay, if I go, okay, if I don't, whatever. And I've worked with some people and I knew it was time for them to go, because it's like every Monday they're off. Every Monday they find a reason to be sick, whatever the reason is, they're sick. Or every Friday they find a reason to be sick or out of the office. Or it's like one day every week they find a reason to be sick and not there. And all of a sudden, a couple months down the road, they're 2 days out of the week, they find a reason not to be there. And I look over and I think, this time for them to go, because you're just apathetic. You really don't want to be there. But the thing is that fear, the fear that I don't want to change. I mean, I do want to change, but I don't want to go through that process of changing. I don't want to be rejected. But I'll say this to you, that if you're a place where you're not feeling that it's exhilarating to be there, you're not feeling the variety, and you're not feeling the excitement, and you're not feeling like you're accomplishing things, it starts to wear on you and it makes you unhappy. And that unhappiness can bleed from the job across the rest of your life, personal relationships with friends and families. And so it will behoove you, before you get stuck and stay stuck for so long that it's difficult for you to leave, just transition out. It's that time. Find another position, get a promotion, or change careers altogether. Okay. And I know that just is like, some people hear that and the little things start going up and down their backs. And they're like, oh my gosh, you really want me to change and find another job and interview with people and they have to do that whole thing. Yes, it's okay. You can do it. You really can do it. And let me tell you, you will feel so much better. There's nothing like having a new job. Don't get me wrong, when it's a new job, yeah, there's a kind of anxiety, like, oh, I got to perform this and I got to make sure I know that. But very linked closely with that anxiety is just this exhilaration. I've got this new job. I remember my second and third job with the Department of Veteran Affairs. One of the jobs, they only opened it for 3 days. There were like 200 candidates that applied over 3 days that a job was open. And I don't know if you're familiar with the way the government hires. They have an open period. And then, people who are interested sign up. In this case, they're like, no, we're only opening it for 3 days. But they still got over 200 candidates in 3 days. And so I was chosen, out of over 200 candidates, I was chosen one of top 3 candidates for the position. And so I'm telling you, it's like a sense of accomplishment. You're like, oh my gosh. I mean, because you're some really sharp people out there, And I went into the interview, and of course, I don't like the interview. I mean, let me just be upfront and say, I do not like to interview. I completely understand the angst that people feel when you think about changing another job and doing all these interviews. I don't like to interview. I don't like to sit across to the table in front of people and be interviewed. I just don't. I really don't like that part of it. But I knew it was time for me to leave. It was really a time for me to get a promotion at the end of the day. It just really was. And so went in and I interviewed well. And out of 200 candidates, which was narrowed down to 3, I ended up being the top candidate chosen. So there's nothing like that boost to your self-esteem when you're like, this thing started off with over 200 people and they chose me, but that sense of excitement, and you jump in with both feet and you can't wait. In this case, I was able to serve veterans. I am a veteran. I'm serving veterans. So I was really ready to go. And so it was a whole new perspective versus coming to work. Like, yeah, I got to come to work. And, every time somebody did something stupid, it's like the eye roll. Because like I said, I don't do a lot of, but, I'll roll my eyes and I'll know, when I start doing it, it's time to go. And then there was just that flip, that sarcastic. I get pretty sarcastic when I just don't want to be in a work environment anymore. So I knew it was time to go. But that exhilaration of being chosen, out of so many candidates, and that's what you have to look for. So I'm going to be the first to say the process of filling out an application and doing resumes, Not the funnest thing, but getting the new position, starting anew and feeling that exhilaration and feeling that excitement, you can't beat that. You cannot beat that. And it makes you get up in the morning and you're ready to go, get in your car and however you get to work and go and perform, because that's what, you want to prove yourself, and you want to, it's like a pride thing. I want to do the best I can. So sometimes when you're feeling like you're burned out, it may not necessarily be that you're burned out. You just may be burned out for the particular position that you're in. This is time to go. Okay. But I will say this. If this sounds like you, but anxiety and fear just really have you stuck in place, do this for me. Take a look at the link. I have a calendar link, and I'm going to eventually say that word properly one day. Click on that link, go out to my calendar, and set up an appointment. Let's just talk about transitioning. It's not the horrible monster that you think it is. Across the last 2 decades or so, I have transitioned, I've transitioned in corporate, I've transitioned in federal government, state government, local governments. And so it's just now I'm at the point where, as much as I don't like that interviewing process, transitioning is something that I know. Transitioning is something that I work well with people, and I can assist you with, finding out what it is that's stopping you and getting you on that plan so you can transition to your next position. And even for some people, the transition may involve a career change. That's fine. Just set up an appointment with me, because I can assist you with doing it and support you with doing it as well. Okay. And so this is a chance that, if you want it, if you know that it's time for you to go, but you're just stuck in place by fear and anxiety, set up an appointment with me. Let's talk about a transition plan that can pick you up and help you to leap to your next best level, because you got the job that you have now because you were really good and you were qualified for it, but you're qualified for so much more. Okay, you can do better than what you are, and so it's your next best level. If you've accomplished everything at your current position where you are now, then you owe it to the next position that's waiting for you to lead to the next best level. Okay, and I'm here to support you with that. Again, I've gotten transitioned down to an art now, and including transitioning to my own, I own 2 corporations now. And so I just do it very well. It's something I'm comfortable with because I understand the process and the fear. The first time I had to transition was actually out of the military into private sector. And I got to tell you, I had some miserable, anxiety-filled days. But from that point over some years ago, it's been, I've been out now for, oh my gosh, 24 years. Oh, I can't believe that. 24 years. I've been out 24 years now, and I've made several transitions. And so I really enjoy helping you ladies transition from where you are now to where you want to be. It's, leap to your next best level. Don't stay stuck and unhappy where you are. Okay, because that unhappiness, it bleeds over to your life, to your kids, to your spouse, to your significant other, and it doesn't have to be that way. You can just reach out and get support with that. So that's my truth today. Thanks everybody for watching, and have a nice Monday evening, the rest of your evening, and a great week. Bye-bye.